Here we go with a new project. This is an app based on community contributions. Users submit information that gets saved in a database, and it doesn't matter what kind of information. It could be books, it could be movies, it could be trails to hike, it could be activities to do in school. It doesn't really matter. We're going to create a model of the data and we're going to save them in the database, and then users can read records from that database. They can update existing records and delete records from the database. So that's create, read, update, delete. In the software development world, that's called a CRUD app. That's not such a pleasant name. We'll refer to it as a community app, but a CRUD app is a significant milestone in your journey as a coder. So this video is going to introduce you to the project and take a close look at the screen. Stick around for the end because we're going to focus a little bit specifically on getting images onto the screen. The idea here is that we have crew lunch on Wednesdays, and a group of people might want to submit suggestions for the types of food that they would like to see us bring to crew lunch. So you can add records about different types of food, or you can display records like guacamole. It's a snack. Here's a description. It's submitted by this user. There's more records in the database, so we can scroll over here and we can see beef shawarma. It's a main dish. And we have a like option here where we can like it and then we can increase the like count. And that's the app. And as I've said, I think the best place to start when you're making these apps is to build the screen first. And that'll give you a clear idea of what kinds of things you need to save in the database and what kind of information you need. So let's look at this screen. We have built out the display screen right here, and we can take a quick tour of it. So right here, we have the food image. We'll come back to that. It's nothing there right now. Here's the food name label, guacamole, different category. This one is a snack, and a little description, and then submitted by and username. And then this little like feature here is just simply a font awesome heart next to, and then next to that is just a little tiny label with a number in it. So let's talk about the image here. So to set an image, you just need an image URL. And in this case, we want an image of guacamole. So we can go to Wikimedia Commons and we can just search guacamole and see what we get. And Wikimedia Commons is a good place to go because these are all not copyrighted. They're open, free, open use. So here we got a nice little picture of guacamole. So we can do a we can do a right click, and then we want to save the image, copy the image address. So we copy the image address and then it's sitting on our clipboard. So we can then bring it back to our app, and in this image property, Command V, and we paste that image address, and then the image shows up on our screen. So I know I've said that users can't submit images in AppLab. They can submit links to images that already exist on the web. And if they submit a link to an image that already exists on the web, you can use it in your app. One thing to note is the shape of the image. If you put contain, then it's going to scale it to the width and height of the image, and it's going to take the maximum that it can fit under those parameters. If you change the option to cover, then it's going to cover the whole image area, but then it might be cropped a little bit. So just something to know and something to play with, these different image options. I'm going to go with cover for now. But okay, so now I've got my screen pretty well built out. I know the information that I want to show. So let's go over to the code and let's create a model of that object, model of that information. So we'll create an object that models that information, and an object starts and ends with a curly brace. So we can call this var food equals, and we're going to create an object. So what are the different properties we have here? Well, we have the guacamole is the food name. And we have a category. In this case, it's snack. We have a description, and in this case it's a bunch of words. We don't have to fill the whole thing out. We'll deal with that later. And we have a submitted by property, and this one is submitted by a user. And what else do we have? We have a likes count, and that's going to be a number. Let's just say right now it's at 3. Actually, it's at 8. And we also have this image URL. And I think that's still on our clipboard. Yes, it is. So we're going to need to put that in quotes. So that's basically a string. And so now we know these are the different properties we want to save for our image. So for our food object, for our information that we want to display. So I think it's a good idea to start here, build up a screen, make it look exactly the way you want it to, hard code the information onto the screen. And when I say hard code, I mean you're just typing in guacamole, you're typing in snack. That's not coming from a database. That's not coming from your code. You can worry about that later. But just hard code the information, build the screen, and then think about what are the variable names that you're going to use to supply that information. So build an object that contains all the information that would then be displayed on the screen. So once you do that, then setting up the data table and the database is a little bit easier. So this is the first step. We're good on the first step. We'll come back and we'll build a data table.